The question is, do deer have a feeding order? And the answer is yes. And I'm going to show you what a typical scenario is for the order in which deer go to the feeding area. Now, I say typical because this is not every single case. You have to take these all on a case-by-case basis, but there is a general pattern that can be observed the more time you spend out in the woods and the more deer you see. Now, this is going to be a situation in the evening. So this is which deer get up first and go to the feeding area, and which deer wait till the end to go to the feeding area. So often, an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours before sunset, the first group of deer are going to start moving. And that group is led by, usually, a button buck, a buck fawn. You have to look close, but you can see on the top of his head, there's two little bumps. Those are the first antlers he's just starting to grow. They don't really come up very far, so they're just bumps or buttons, so we call that a button buck. They are usually the most reckless deer, the deer that really don't have the experience and aren't willing to listen to the does. They want to be the first ones. They've got all this energy. When it's time to get up, they want to get moving. So they're usually the first. So if you're looking to shoot a doe and you don't want to shoot a buck fawn, you need to pay very close attention to that first deer. It's a very high likelihood that that first one through is a button buck. And then down the line, then the does follow. But you can see that they're walking a little slower. They're all bedded together, and when they get up to feed, that button buck is moving faster than the does. That's why they generally get to the food first. Now, often you'll have multiple groups of does come through. So you'll have a button buck with his family group. And then you may have a whole nother family group that comes through. Then you'll get to where the small bucks start trickling out. Now, in this situation, we don't have small bucks, and we only have one doe group. But once that one doe group comes through, then we get to the bucks, and in this case, a big old mature buck. He's going to be the last one to get up out of his bed and get to the food. He's often bedded further from the food than the does are, so it takes him longer to get to that feeding area. So this is why if you're looking to shoot a doe, you want to pay very close attention to that first deer. That might be a button buck. If you're looking for a buck, you got to pay attention to when those does start coming through. The bucks are going to be after that. And if you're looking for a buck like this, a big mature buck, he's generally going to be one of the last ones moving into that feeding area. Now, he's a little early on this particular date. This is probably a solid hour before sunset, but he's going to be that last one to come through. So you've really got to plan to be there right at that last sliver of legal light, and that's your best chance of getting a big old mature buck to come through. And if you'd like to see more clips of this big mature buck, hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment.